Dr. Elara Chen squinted at her computer screen, the lines of alien symbols blurring together after hours of intense focus. The soft hum of advanced computing equipment filled the air of the Breakthrough Listen facility, a stark contrast to the deafening silence of the message they'd received 3 weeks ago. A message from the stars, proof finally that humanity was not alone in the universe. Elara ran her fingers through her disheveled hair, glancing at the time display, 3:47 a.m. Another sleepless night spent trying to decipher the alien transmission. Her colleagues had long since gone home, leaving her alone with the weight of potential first contact resting squarely on her shoulders. As the world's foremost expert in xenolinguistics, Elara had been called in the moment. The signal was confirmed to be of intelligent, extraterrestrial origin. What had started as excitement quickly turned to frustration as traditional decryption methods failed spectacularly. This was no simple mathematical sequence or basic attempt at communication. The complexity of the message hinted at a civilization far beyond humanity's current technological capabilities. Elara's eyes drifted to the framed photo on her desk. Her parents, both renowned linguists in their own right, smiling proudly at her college graduation. "I won't let you down," she whispered, turning back to her work with renewed determination. As she stared at the flowing script, something clicked in her mind. What if? She quickly pulled up a 3D modeling program, inputting the alien characters as spatial coordinates rather than linear text. Her heart raced as the computer processed the data. Slowly, a holographic image flickered to life above her desk. Elara gasped, her eyes widening in awe. Floating before her was a stunningly detailed star map, with one system pulsing gently, an invitation. "Holy shit," Elara breathed, fumbling for her phone. "Director Hawthorne, you need to see this. Now." 12 hours later, Elara found herself in a secure briefing room deep beneath the Pentagon. Her discovery had set off a chain reaction, catapulting her from obscure academic to the center of a global firestorm. Military brass, politicians, and scientific leaders from around the world were crowded around the table, their faces a mix of excitement and barely concealed fear. "Dr. Chen," General Lancaster began, his voice gruff. "You're certain this map leads to the alien homeworld?" Elara nodded, trying to keep her voice steady. "Based on the stellar configurations and the highlighted system, yes. It's approximately 40 light-years from Earth, in the direction of the constellation Lyra." A murmur rippled through the room. Secretary of Defense Johanna Rees leaned forward, her piercing gaze fixed on Elara. "And you believe this is an invitation, not a threat?" "The nature of the message suggests a desire for peaceful contact," Elara explained. "The complexity of the encoding implies they wanted to ensure only a sufficiently advanced civilization could respond. It's a test in a way." "A test we've barely passed," muttered Dr. Vikram Patel, a renowned astrophysicist. "Their level of technology must be staggering." President Amelia Lockhart, who had been silently observing until now, spoke up. "The question is, do we accept this invitation? And if so, how do we respond?" The room erupted into heated debate. Some argued for caution, warning of the potential dangers of alerting a superior alien race to Earth's precise location. Others saw it as humanity's greatest opportunity, a chance to leap forward technologically and join a galactic community. As the arguments raged, Elara's mind raced. She understood the risks, but the linguist in her couldn't ignore the monumental importance of this moment. This was the chance to bridge the gap between worlds, to learn and grow in ways humanity had only dreamed of. Taking a deep breath, she raised her voice above the clamor. "Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, I believe we have no choice but to respond." The room fell silent, all eyes turning to her. Elara swallowed hard but pressed on. Throughout human history, every great leap forward has come with risk. The first humans to leave Africa, the first sailors to cross vast oceans, the first astronauts to walk on the moon, they all faced unknown dangers. But it was their courage, their innate human curiosity, that drove our species forward. She gestured to the holographic star map hovering above the table. This message is a hand extended across the cosmos. To ignore it out of fear would be to turn our backs on everything that makes us human. Yes, there are risks, but the potential benefits, scientific knowledge, cultural exchange, maybe even the key to unlocking the stars themselves, far outweigh those risks. Ilara looked directly at President Lockhart. We have the chance to make history, to be the generation that takes humanity's first steps into a larger universe. I believe we must seize that chance. A heavy silence fell over the room as her words sank in. Finally, President Lockhart nodded slowly. Well said, Dr. Chen. I'm inclined to agree. She turned to the assembled leaders. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe it's time for a vote. Do we answer our new neighbor's call? One by one, hands raised around the table. It wasn't unanimous, but it was a clear majority. Humanity would reach out to the stars. Very well, President Lockhart said, a hint of a smile on her face. Dr. Chen, it seems you've just volunteered to be our ambassador. Work with NASA and our international partners to craft a response. Let's show these aliens the best of what humanity has to offer. Ilara's heart pounded in her chest, a mix of exhilaration and terror washing over her. She had just become the voice of humanity to the stars. The next month passed in a blur of feverish activity. Ilara worked around the clock with a team of Earth's brightest minds, crafting a message that would serve as humanity's introduction to the cosmos. They pored over every detail, debating the merits of including everything from basic scientific principles to great works of art and literature. In the end, they settled on a multi-layered transmission. At its core was a simple greeting in multiple Earth languages, accompanied by a primer on human biology and a basic overview of Earth's history and cultures. This was wrapped in layers of increasingly complex information, mathematical proofs, scientific data, and carefully chosen samples of music and visual art from around the world. Finally, the day of transmission arrived. Ilara stood in the control room of the Arecibo Observatory, her hand hovering over the switch that would send humanity's message racing across the light years. She thought of all the generations that had looked up at the night sky, wondering if anyone was looking back. Now they had their answer. With a deep breath, Ilara pressed the button. A soft beep confirmed the transmission had begun. Humanity's voice was singing out to the stars. Now we wait, Dr. Patel said softly, placing a comforting hand on Ilara's shoulder. But they didn't have to wait long. Less than an hour after their transmission, alarms blared throughout the observatory. Ilara rushed to a monitor, her jaw dropping as she processed what she was seeing. A massive object had just appeared in orbit around the moon, seemingly out of nowhere. As telescopes around the world focused on the anomaly, its shape became clear, a sleek, silver spacecraft of impossible proportions. Ilara's phone buzzed with an incoming call. It was President Lockhart, her voice tense. Dr. Chen, are you seeing this? Yes, Madame President, Ilara replied, her own voice barely above a whisper. It seems our new neighbors were closer than we thought. As if on cue, a new signal burst through their communications systems. Ilara's translation software sprang to life, decoding the message in real time. Her heart raced as the words appeared on the screen. Greetings, people of Earth. We accept your invitation. Prepare for our arrival. Ilara stared at the screen, a mix of terror and exhilaration coursing through her veins. Humanity's great leap into the cosmic unknown was about to begin, and she was standing at the very edge of that precipice. Little did she know, the adventure that awaited her among the stars would challenge everything she thought she knew about herself, her species, and the very nature of the universe itself. The Galactic Court. The sleek, silver shuttle glided through the cavernous docking bay of the alien mothership, its human passengers gazing in wide-eyed wonder at the bustling activity around them. Dr. Ilara Chen felt her heart racing as the craft touched down with barely a whisper. This was it, humanity's first step into a galactic society. As the shuttle's door hissed open, Ilara straightened her specially designed diplomatic uniform, a sleek, silvery outfit meant to project a professional yet approachable image to their alien hosts. Behind her, the small team of Earth's representatives fidgeted nervously. "Remember," Ilara said softly, "we're not just representing ourselves or our countries. We're here on behalf of all humanity. Let's make a good first impression." With a deep breath, she stepped out of the shuttle and onto the polished floor of the alien ship. The air smelled faintly of ozone and something unidentifiable, their first taste of a truly alien environment. A group of tall, willowy beings glided towards them. Their skin shimmered with an iridescent quality, shifting colors like oil on water. Large, almond-shaped eyes regarded the humans with unmistakable curiosity. One of the aliens stepped forward, raising a seven-fingered hand in what seemed to be a gesture of greeting. "Welcome, children of Earth," it said, the words somehow forming in Ilara's mind without passing through her ears. "I am Zartak, emissary of the Galactic Concordat. We are honored by your presence." Ilara bowed slightly, hoping the gesture translated well across species. "The honor is ours, emissary Zartak. I am Dr. Ilara Chen, speaking on behalf of Earth. We come in peace and with great eagerness to learn." Zartak's skin rippled with hues of blue and green, an expression of pleasure Ilara guessed. "Your eagerness is noted and appreciated, Dr. Chen. If you and your companions will follow me, the High Council awaits." As they were led through winding corridors of gleaming metal and pulsing light, Ilara struggled to take in every detail. The ship was a marvel of engineering, with gravity that shifted subtly as they moved on walls that seemed to phase between solid and translucent. Finally, they arrived at a vast circular chamber. Tiered seating rose in concentric rings, filled with beings of all shapes, sizes, and colors. Some were vaguely humanoid, others defied easy description. Ilara felt a momentary wave of vertigo as she realized she was looking at representatives from dozens, if not hundreds, of alien species. At the center of the chamber stood a raised dais, upon which sat 5 regal-looking aliens. Their bodies seemed to be composed of pure energy, barely contained within shimmering, translucent forms. "The High Council of the Galactic Concordat," Zartak announced, his mental voice resonating with reverence. One of the energy beings rose, its form pulsing with gentle light. "Welcome, envoys of Earth," it said, its voice somehow conveying both warmth and incredible age. "I am San Lu, first speaker of the Concordat. We have long awaited this day." Ilara stepped forward, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "First speaker at San Lu, esteemed members of the High Council. On behalf of Earth and all humanity, we thank you for this incredible opportunity. We come seeking knowledge, understanding, and peaceful cooperation." A ripple of what sounded like approving murmurs passed through the assembled aliens. San Lu's form brightened. "Your words are welcome, Dr. Chen. The Concordate exists to foster peace and progress among all sentient species. We have watched your world for many cycles, waiting for the moment you would be ready to join us." Another council member spoke up, its voice tinged with a hint of skepticism. But the question remains, are they truly ready? Humanity's history is marked by conflict and division. Can they be trusted with the knowledge and power that comes with joining the Concordat? Ilara felt a flash of indignation, quickly tempered by the realization that the aliens' words held a kernel of truth. Humanity's track record was far from perfect, but she also knew the incredible capacity for growth and compassion her species possessed. "Esteemed Council," Ilara began, choosing her words carefully, "it's true that humanity has made many mistakes throughout our history. We have fought wars, harmed our planet, and at times failed to see the humanity in each other. But we have also created works of incredible beauty, made scientific leaps that have transformed our understanding of the universe and time, and again shown the ability to come together in the face of adversity." She gestured to her fellow humans, a diverse group representing various nations and backgrounds. Look at us. Not long ago, some of our nations were bitter enemies. Now we stand united, ready to embrace a future among the stars. We don't claim to be perfect, but we are committed to learning, to growing, and to being worthy of the trust you place in us. The chamber fell silent as the council members seemed to confer among themselves through some unseen means. Finally, San Lu spoke again. Your words show wisdom, Dr. Chen. The path to enlightenment is not without its stumbles. The Concordat has decided Earth will be granted provisional membership with a probationary period to prove your readiness. A wave of relief washed over Ilara, but it was short-lived. The doors at the far end of the chamber burst open, and a new figure strode in. Ilara's breath caught in her throat. The newcomer was clearly female, with skin that shimmered like polished obsidian and hair that seemed to be made of living flame. She moved with a predatory grace, her eyes, a swirling mix of gold and crimson, locked onto the human delegation. So these are the primitives we're meant to welcome with open arms, she said, her mental voice dripping with disdain. I, Princess Zara of the Novari Empire, object to this folly. San Lu's form pulsed with what seemed to be irritation. Princess Zara, you were not summoned to this gathering. The decision has been made. Zara's eyes narrowed, flickering with internal fire. The Novari Empire will not stand idle while you hand over the secrets of the cosmos to a species that still fights over lines drawn in the sand of a single insignificant world. She stalked towards Ilara, who stood her ground despite the alien princess's intimidating presence. Tell me, little human, Zara sneered, what could your kind possibly offer the Concordat that we don't already have in abundance? Ilara met the princess's fiery gaze, a spark of defiance igniting within her. With all due respect, Your Highness, perhaps what we offer is a fresh perspective, a reminder of the wonder and possibility that comes with seeing the universe through new eyes. And maybe, just maybe, we have potential that even you haven't yet recognized. Princess Zara's eyes widened slightly, a flicker of something, surprise, respect, passing across her face. Then her haughty mask slipped back into place. Bold words. Let's see if your actions can match them. With a dismissive flick of her hand, Zara turned and strode out of the chamber. But as she reached the door, she paused, glancing back at Ilara with an unreadable expression. This isn't over, human, not by a long shot. As the doors closed behind the princess, Ilara let out a breath she didn't realize she'd been holding. She had a feeling that this encounter was just the beginning of a much larger challenge, one that would test not only her, but all of humanity's readiness to join the cosmic community. San Lu's voice broke through her thoughts. You handled that unexpectedly well, Dr. Chen. It seems we made the right choice in you as Earth's representative, but be warned, Princess Zara is not one to be underestimated. Her opposition could make your probationary period interesting. Ilara nodded, her mind racing with the implications. Thank you for your trust, first speaker. We won't let you down. As she spoke the words, she silently added a promise to herself and to humanity. We will prove ourselves worthy, no matter the challenges ahead. Little did Ilara know that her encounter with Princess Zara was about to set in motion a chain of events that would not only challenge her understanding of the universe, but also force her to confront parts of herself she never knew existed. The true test of humanity's place among the stars was just beginning. Lessons in alien intimacy. Ilara paced nervously in her quarters aboard the Concordat's massive space station, her mind still reeling from the events of the past few weeks. Earth's induction into the galactic community had been a whirlwind of diplomatic meetings, technological marvels, and cultural exchanges that left her head spinning, but nothing had prepared her for her latest assignment. A chime at her door startled her from her thoughts. Taking a deep breath, Ilara straightened her clothing and tried to project an air of confidence she didn't entirely feel. Enter, she called out. The door slid open with a soft hiss, revealing the imposing figure of Princess Zara. The Novari royal's obsidian skin seemed to absorb the light around her, while her flame-like hair danced with an energy of its own. Her gold and crimson eyes fixed on Elara with an intensity that made the human's breath catch in her throat. "Dr. Chen," Zara said, her mental voice a mix of amusement and something darker. "I trust you're prepared for today's lesson." Elara nodded, trying to keep her voice steady. "As ready as I'll ever be, Your Highness." After their confrontation in the council chambers, Elara had been shocked to receive a private communication from Princess Zara. The Novari royal had proposed a series of cultural exchange sessions, ostensibly to help humanity better understand the intricacies of galactic society. The High Council had enthusiastically endorsed the idea, seeing it as a chance to smooth over tensions between Earth and the influential Novari Empire. What no one else knew was the true nature of these lessons Zara had in mind. The princess glided into the room, the door sealing shut behind her. "Tell me, Dr. Chen," she purred, circling Elara like a predator sizing up its prey. "What do you know of Novari courtship rituals?" Elara swallowed hard. "Very little, Your Highness. Our briefings on alien cultures have been limited." A smirk played across Zora's lips. "Of course they have. The Concordat is so terribly prudish about these matters. But intimacy, true intimacy, is the foundation of any lasting alliance. Don't you agree?" "I suppose that makes sense," Elara replied cautiously. "Building trust and understanding on a personal level can certainly strengthen diplomatic ties." Zora's eyes flashed with approval. "Precisely. And that, my dear Elara, is why you're here. To truly understand the Novari, to forge an alliance that will benefit both our peoples, you must learn our ways of connection." The princess reached out, her fingers barely brushing Elara's cheek. The human gasped at the contact. Zora's skin was impossibly smooth, radiating a warmth that seemed to seep into her very being. "Your species is so physical," Zara mused. "So reliant on touch, on crude sensory input. The Novari have evolved beyond such limitations. Our intimacy is a meeting of minds, of energies. But for you to understand, we must start with the basics." With a fluid motion, Zara took Elara's hand in her own. Immediately, Elara felt a tingling sensation racing up her arm, as if every nerve ending had suddenly come alive. "Close your eyes," Zara instructed softly. "Focus on the energy flowing between us. Let go of your physical perceptions. Reach out with your mind." Elara did as she was told, her scientific curiosity overriding her initial trepidation. As she concentrated, she became aware of something extraordinary. It was as if a new sense was awakening within her. She could feel Zara's presence, not just physically, but on some deeper, almost spiritual level. "That's it," Zara encouraged. "You're more receptive than I expected. Now, let me show you how the Novari truly connect." A flood of sensation washed over Elara. Images, emotions, and concepts beyond her understanding raced through her mind. She saw glimpses of alien worlds, felt the raw power of stars being born, and experienced the vastness of space in a way no human ever had before. But more than that, she felt Zara. The princess's outer haughtiness fell away, revealing a complex being filled with passion, ambition, and a deep-seated loneliness that resonated with Elara's own hidden insecurities. When Elara finally opened her eyes, she found herself breathless, her body trembling from the intensity of the experience. Zara was watching her with a mix of surprise and something that looked almost like respect. "Impressive," the princess said softly. "Most non-Novari can't maintain the connection for more than a few seconds on their first try. You, Dr. Chen, are full of surprises." Elara took a shaky breath, her mind still reeling. "That was incredible. I had no idea such a connection was possible. Is this how your people always communicate?" Zara's expression turned thoughtful. "Not always. What we shared was intimate, reserved for those who are very close, or for those seeking to forge a deep alliance." The implications of Zara's words weren't lost on Elara. "You're testing me," she realized aloud. "This isn't just about cultural exchange. You're assessing humanity's potential as true allies." A slow smile spread across Zora's face. "Perhaps you're not as naive as I first thought. Yes, Ilara, the Novari Empire doesn't suffer fools or weaklings. If humanity is to have a place among the stars, you must prove yourselves worthy. And you, as Earth's representative, are our measuring stick." Ilara felt the weight of responsibility settling on her shoulders. "And if we're found wanting?" Zora's eyes hardened. "Then the Novari will use our considerable influence to ensure humanity remains quarantined on your little blue world. For the good of the galaxy, of course." The tension in the room was palpable. Ilara knew she should be intimidated, even terrified. But something had changed during their mental connection. She had seen beneath Zora's imperious facade, glimpsed the person, the being, underneath. Taking a deep breath, Ilara met the princess's gaze steadily. "Then I suppose we'll have to exceed your expectations, won't we? Humanity has a habit of surprising those who underestimate us." For a moment, Zora looked taken aback by Ilara's boldness. Then, to the human's surprise, she threw her head back and laughed, a sound like chiming crystals that seemed to light up the room. "Oh, I do hope you're right, Dr. Chen," Zara said, her eyes gleaming with newfound interest. "These lessons may prove more entertaining than I anticipated." As Zara prepared to leave, she paused at the door. "Same time tomorrow," she said, her tone making it clear it wasn't a request. "We've only scratched the surface of Novari intimacy. I hope you're prepared to go deeper." With a final, smoldering look that sent a shiver down Ilara's spine, the princess was gone, leaving the human scientist to ponder the implications of what had just transpired. Ilara sank onto her bed, her mind buzzing with new questions and possibilities. She had come to the stars seeking knowledge, hoping to prove humanity's worth. Now she found herself embroiled in a dangerous game of interstellar politics and alien intimacy, with the fate of Earth hanging in the balance. As she reflected on the intensity of her connection with Zara, Ilara couldn't help but feel a mix of excitement and trepidation. She was venturing into uncharted territory, pushing the boundaries of human experience. But with that thrill came a nagging worry. Was she getting too close, too personally involved? Ilara shook her head, trying to clear her thoughts. She was a scientist, an explorer. This was the opportunity of a lifetime, to learn, to grow, to help humanity take its place among the stars. Whatever challenges lay ahead, whatever intimate lessons Zara had in store, Ilara was determined to face them head-on. After all, the future of her entire species might depend on it. Rising tensions. The vast observation deck of the Concordat space station hummed with activity as representatives from 100 worlds mingled, their varied forms a testament to the diversity of life in the galaxy. Ilara stood at the edge of the crowd, nursing a glass of shimmering blue liquid that tasted faintly of starlight and citrus. Her eyes, however, were fixed on the swirling nebula visible through the transparent dome above. "Magnificent, isn't it?" came a familiar mental voice. Ilara turned to find Zartak, the Concordat emissary, gliding towards her. "The Cerulean Veil Nebula. In a few million years, it will birth a new star system." Ilara nodded, still in awe of the cosmic vista. "It's breathtaking. I never imagined I'd see such wonders with my own eyes." Zartak's skin rippled with hues of green and blue, an expression of pleasure Ilara had learned. "Your species' wonder at the universe is refreshing. Many of us have grown jaded to such sights." Before Ilara could respond, a commotion near the center of the room caught their attention. Princess Zara had arrived, her obsidian skin and flame-like hair drawing all eyes to her. But it was her companion that caused Ilara's breath to catch in her throat. Walking arm in arm with the Novari princess was Jake Morrison, one of the human diplomats who had accompanied Ilara on this mission. The young man looked both thrilled and terrified as Zara led him through the crowd, whispering something in his ear that made him blush furiously. Ilara felt a sudden, irrational surge of, was it jealousy? She quickly pushed a feeling aside, reminding herself that her relationship with Zara was purely diplomatic. Still, she couldn't help but feel a twinge of unease as she watched the pair. Zartak's multifaceted eyes narrowed slightly. Interesting, the emissary mused. The princess seems to have taken a keen interest in your species. So it would seem, Ilara replied, trying to keep her voice neutral. As if sensing their gaze, Zara looked up, her golden eyes locking with Ilara's across the room. A smirk played across the princess's lips as she raised her glass in a mock toast before turning her attention back to Jake. Ilara excused herself from Zartak and made her way through the crowd, her mind racing. What was Zara playing at? Was this all part of some larger game? She had nearly reached the princess when a hand grasped her arm, pulling her aside. Ilara found herself face to face with Ambassador Krell, a hulking reptilian being from a world she couldn't pronounce. Dr. Chen, Krell rumbled, his breath hot and acrid. Just the human I wanted to see. We need to talk about your species' continued presence here. Ilara forced a diplomatic smile. Of course, Ambassador. What seems to be the concern? Krell's yellow eyes narrowed. Concern? Ha! More like outrage. Your kind has barely mastered spaceflight, yet here you are, rubbing elbows with species that were exploring the stars when your ancestors were still swinging in trees. Ambassador, I assure you, Ilara began, but Krell cut her off. Save your assurances, he snarled. The Zarkovian Imperium will not stand idly by while primitives are handed the keys to the cosmos. Mark my words, human, your days here are numbered. With that, Krell stomped away, leaving Ilara shaken. She had known there was opposition to humanity's inclusion in the Concordat, but this was the first time she'd been confronted so directly. My, making friends everywhere, aren't we? Ilara turned to find Princess Zara standing behind her, an amused glint in her eye. Jake was nowhere to be seen. Your Highness, Ilara said stiffly, enjoying the party. Zara's lips curled into a sultry smile. Immensely. Your colleague Jake is quite entertaining, so eager to learn about Novari customs. Ilara felt her cheeks flush with a mix of anger and embarrassment. What are you doing, Zara? Is this all just a game to you? The princess's expression hardened. Everything is a game, Dr. Chen. Politics, diplomacy, even intimacy. The sooner you understand that, the better chance your species has of surviving in this galaxy. Is that what our lessons have been? Ilara shot back. Just moves in your cosmic chess match. For a moment, something like hurt flashed in Zara's eyes, quickly replaced by her usual haughty demeanor. Oh, Ilara, I thought you were beginning to understand. What we shared goes beyond mere strategy. But make no mistake, the fate of worlds hangs in the balance. Your world, specifically. Before Ilara could respond, a commotion erupted near the center of the room. Ambassador Krell was engaged in a heated argument with a member of the Concordat security force, his voice rising to a roar. This has gone on long enough, Krell bellowed. If the Council won't see reason, then the Zarkovian Imperium will take matters into our own hands. With a speed belying his bulk, Krell pulled out a device that pulsed with ominous energy. Screams erupted as the partygoers realized what was happening. The ambassador was armed with some kind of weapon. Time seemed to slow for Ilara. She saw the security officer reaching for his own weapon, saw the fear and anger in Krell's eyes. If this escalated, if blood was shed here, humanity's chance at joining the galactic community might be lost forever. Without thinking, Ilara rushed forward, placing herself between Krell and the security officer. Ambassador, please, she shouted. This isn't the way. Whatever your grievances, there are diplomatic channels. Silence, human, Krell roared. Your kind has no place here, no place among the stars. It's time someone showed the Council the folly of their decision. The weapon in Krell's hand hummed with increasing intensity. Ilara stood her ground, her heart pounding but her voice steady. If you truly believe that, Ambassador, then prove it through debate and diplomacy. Not like this. Show everyone here that your civilization is truly more advanced than ours. For a tense moment, the room held its breath. Then, slowly, the energy pulse in Krell's weapon began to subside. The ambassador's shoulders slumped, the fight seeming to drain out of him. "You speak well, human," Krell said grudgingly. Perhaps there is more to your kind than I first thought." As Concordat security moved in to escort Krell away, Elara felt a hand on her shoulder. She turned to find Zara looking at her with an expression of genuine admiration. That, the princess said softly, was either incredibly brave or monumentally stupid, possibly both. Elara managed a weak smile. "Just doing my job. Proving humanity's worth, one interstellar incident at a time." Zara's laugh was like chiming bells. "Oh, Elara, you continue to surprise me. Come, I think we both could use a drink after that excitement, and perhaps we have some things to discuss." As Zara led her away from the crowd, Elara's mind raced. She had averted a disaster, but she knew this was just the beginning. The opposition to humanity's presence was growing, and the stakes were higher than ever. And then there was Zara, the enigmatic princess who alternately infuriated and fascinated her. Elara couldn't shake the feeling that she was being pulled into something far larger and more complex than she had ever imagined. As they reached a quiet corner of the observation deck, the cerulean veil nebula shimmering above them, Zara turned to Elara with an intensity that made her breath catch. "You asked if our lessons were just a game," the princess said quietly. "The truth is, I'm not sure anymore. But I do know this: you, Elara Chen, are unlike anyone I've ever encountered, and I think it's time we took our cultural exchange to the next level." Elara swallowed hard, equal parts thrilled and terrified by the implications of Zara's words. As she looked into the princess's swirling golden eyes, she knew that whatever came next would change everything, for her, for humanity, and perhaps for the entire galaxy. The tensions were rising, the stakes growing ever higher. But in that moment, with the universe spread out before them and the promise of deeper connection hanging in the air, Elara felt ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. After all, she was no longer just a scientist or a diplomat. She was humanity's ambassador to the stars, and she would not let her species down. The grand challenge. The great hall of the Concordat thrummed with tension as representatives from across the galaxy filed in. Elara stood at the center of the vast chamber, her heart pounding but her posture straight and proud. This was it, the moment that would determine humanity's fate among the stars. High above, the Council of Five sat in judgment, their energy forms pulsing with barely contained power. Zhan Lu, the first speaker, raised a shimmering appendage for silence. Delegates of the Concordat, Zhan Lu's voice resonated through the hall. "We are gathered here to address the petition put forth by the Zarkovian Imperium and its allies. They challenge humanity's right to stand among us, claiming that Earth is not yet ready for the responsibilities and privileges of full Concordat membership." A rumble of agreement rose from one section of the audience. Elara spotted Ambassador Krell, his reptilian features set in a smug grin. "In light of recent events," Zhan Lu continued, "and in accordance with our most ancient laws, the Council has decided to put humanity to the test. Dr. Elara Chen, as Earth's chosen representative, you will face the grand challenge." A hush fell over the crowd. Even Krell looked taken aback. The grand challenge was rarely invoked, a trial that could elevate a species to greatness or condemn them to isolation. Elara stepped forward, her voice steady. "I accept the challenge on behalf of Earth and all humanity." Zhan Lu's form brightened. "Very well. The grand challenge consists of 3 trials, each testing a different aspect of your species' readiness to join galactic society. You will have 1 planetary rotation to prepare. Choose your aids wisely, for the fate of your world rests upon your performance." As the crowd began to disperse, Elara felt a familiar presence at her side. Princess Zara stood there, her golden eyes filled with an emotion Elara couldn't quite place. "Walk with me," Zara said softly, leading Elara away from the prying eyes and ears of the other delegates. Once they were alone in a secluded garden area, Zara turned to Elara, her usual mask of cool indifference replaced by genuine concern. "Do you understand what you've just agreed to? The grand challenge is not to be taken lightly. Many species have been broken by it, condemned to centuries of isolation." Elara met Zara's gaze steadily. "I understand the risks, but this is our chance to prove ourselves, to show the galaxy that humanity deserves a place among the stars." Zara shook her head, a rueful smile playing across her lips. "Your determination is admirable, if foolish. The trials will test you in ways you can't imagine. Your intellect, your physicality, and your very spirit will be pushed to their limits." "Then I'll just have to surpass those limits," Elara replied with a confidence she didn't entirely feel. "Humanity has a knack for beating the odds." The princess was quiet for a moment, studying Elara intently. Then, to Elara's surprise, Zara reached out and took her hand. The now familiar surge of energy passed between them, but this time it felt different, warmer, more intimate. "You're either the bravest or the most reckless being I've ever encountered," Zara said softly. "Perhaps both. I find myself invested in your success, Elara Chen. So let me offer you this. I will be your aid for the challenge." Elara's eyes widened in shock. "But why? Won't this put you at odds with your own people, with the other powers that want to see humanity fail?" Zara's laugh was low and musical. "Oh, my dear Elara, haven't you realized by now? I've always been at odds with the established powers. Your species' inclusion in the Concordat could shift the balance of galactic politics in ways that are very interesting to me." There was more to it than that, Elara sensed. The connection between them had grown deeper over their time together, transcending mere political maneuvering. But now wasn't the time to explore those complex feelings. "I'm honored to accept your help, Princess Zara," Elara said formally, then added with a small smile, "though I hope this isn't just another of your cosmic chess moves." Zara's eyes glittered with amusement. "Life is a game, Elara. But that doesn't mean the feelings behind our moves aren't real." Before Elara could respond, a chime sounded throughout the station, the signal that the preparation period for the grand challenge had begun. "Come," Zara said, "all business now. We have much to do and little time. The first trial will test your intellect and problem-solving skills. The second, your physical capabilities and adaptability. And the third," she paused, her expression growing serious, "the third will challenge your very conception of reality and push your mind to its limits." As they hurried through the corridors, Elara's mind raced. She thought of Earth, of the billions of humans counting on her without even knowing it. She thought of all the wonders she'd seen since coming to the stars, and all the potential humanity had yet to unlock. "Tell me, Elara," Zara said as they entered a private training facility, "what do you think is humanity's greatest strength? What sets your species apart?" Elara considered the question carefully. "Our adaptability," she said finally. "Our curiosity and drive to understand the unknown, and our capacity for empathy, to connect with and understand beings vastly different from ourselves." Zara nodded approvingly. "Good. Hold on to those strengths. You'll need them all for what's to come." The next rotation passed in a blur of intense preparation. Zara pushed Elara to her mental and physical limits, drilling her on everything from advanced xenobiology to the intricacies of non-Euclidean space. They practiced mind-melding techniques that left Elara exhilarated and drained in equal measure. Finally, as the chime sounded to signal the beginning of the grand challenge, Zara pulled Elara close. Their foreheads touched, and Elara felt a surge of energy and emotion flow between them. "Remember," Zara whispered, "you carry the hopes of your entire species, but you also carry a piece of me. Use it well." With those words echoing in her mind, Elara stepped into the arena where the first trial awaited. The crowds roared, a cacophony of alien voices united in anticipation. High above, the Council of Five watched impassively. Ilara took a deep breath, centering herself. Whatever challenges lay ahead, she was ready to face them. For Earth, for humanity's future among the stars, and for the complex, unexpected connection she'd forged with a being from across the cosmos. The grand challenge had begun, and with it, the true test of humanity's place in the universe. A new era. Ilara stood at the center of the Concordat's grand arena, her body battered and her mind reeling from the trials she had endured. The final challenge had pushed her to limits she never knew she possessed, forcing her to confront not just the complexities of the universe, but the very nature of consciousness itself. Around her, the assembled delegates of 1,000 worlds watched in tense silence. The air crackled with anticipation as the Council of Five descended from their lofty perch, their energy forms pulsing with an intensity that made Ilara's skin tingle. Sanlu, the first speaker, moved forward. Dr. Ilara Chen of Earth, the ancient being's voice resonated through the arena. You have faced the grand challenge with a courage and ingenuity that has impressed even the most skeptical among us. Ilara's heart raced. She thought of the trials she had overcome, the logic puzzle that had required her to think in 5 dimensions simultaneously, the physical gauntlet that had tested the very limits of human endurance, and the final mind-bending challenge that had forced her to experience reality from the perspective of a dozen different alien species at once. In the first trial, Sanlu continued, you demonstrated not just intelligence, but a remarkable adaptability of thought. Your solution to the paradox of infinite recursion was unconventional, to say the least. Ilara allowed herself a small smile, remembering how she had turned the problem on its head, using Earth's own philosophical concepts to reframe the entire question. In the second trial, you showed that while your species may not be the strongest or fastest in the galaxy, your determination and ability to think creatively in the face of adversity are second to none. Images flashed through Ilara's mind, racing across a landscape that shifted and morphed with every step, using her understanding of physics and sheer human stubbornness to overcome obstacles designed to be insurmountable. But it was in the final trial that you truly set yourself apart. Sanlu's voice grew solemn. When faced with the overwhelming complexity of myriad alien perspectives, you did not lose yourself. Instead, you found a way to synthesize those experiences, to find common ground across unfathomable differences. This, more than anything, has proven humanity's readiness to join the galactic community. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Ilara spotted Ambassador Krell, the Zarkovian who had so vehemently opposed humanity's inclusion. To her surprise, she saw not anger in his eyes, but a begrudging respect. Dr. Chen, Sanlu proclaimed, you have not only passed the grand challenge, you have excelled beyond our expectations. The Council of Five hereby affirms humanity's full membership in the Galactic Concordat. The arena erupted in a cacophony of alien cheers and vocalizations. Ilara felt a wave of relief and exhilaration wash over her. They had done it. Humanity had proven its worth among the stars. As the celebrations began, Ilara felt a familiar presence at her side. She turned to see Princess Zara, the Novari royal's eyes shimmering with an emotion Ilara had never seen in them before, pride. Well done, Ilara, Zara said softly, her mental voice warm. You've changed the course of galactic history today. Before Ilara could respond, she was swept up in a whirlwind of congratulations from delegates of various species. Questions flew at her from all directions, about Earth, about human culture, about potential alliances and exchanges of knowledge. Hours later, as the excitement began to die down, Ilara found herself on a quiet observation deck, staring out at the star-studded expanse of space. The magnitude of what had transpired was finally starting to sink in. Quite a view, isn't it? Came a voice behind her. Ilara turned to see Zartak, the Concordat emissary who had first welcomed her aboard the station, what felt like a lifetime ago. It's overwhelming, Elara admitted. All those stars, all those worlds. And now, humanity is a part of it all. Zartak's skin rippled with colors of contentment. Indeed, your success today has opened up possibilities that even the Council couldn't have foreseen. Already, there's talk of establishing a human embassy here on the station, of cultural exchange programs, of sharing technologies that will propel Earth centuries ahead in development. Elara's mind reeled at the implications. It's almost too much to take in. How will we manage such rapid change? With the same adaptability and resilience you've shown here, came another voice. Princess Zara glided into view, her obsidian skin gleaming in the starlight. Humanity has earned its place among us, Elara. Now comes the truly challenging part, living up to that potential. Zara turned to Zartak. If you don't mind, emissary, I'd like a moment alone with Dr. Chen. There are some private matters we need to discuss. Once they were alone, Zara's regal demeanor softened. She took Elara's hands in her own, initiating the now familiar surge of mental and emotional connection. But this time, Elara sensed a new depth to the link, a vulnerability in Zara she had never seen before. Elara, Zara began, her mental voice tinged with an uncharacteristic uncertainty. What you've accomplished here is nothing short of miraculous. You've not only secured humanity's place in the cosmos, but you've also changed me. Elara's breath caught in her throat. Zara, The princess pressed on. I've lived for centuries, played the game of galactic politics with the best of them. But you, your passion, your empathy, your infuriating human ability to hope against all odds, it's awakened something in me I thought long dead. Are you saying what I think you're saying? Elara asked, her heart racing. Zara's laugh was soft and melodious. I'm saying, Dr. Elara Chen, that this game of cosmic chess has become something far more interesting. The Novari Empire is proposing a formal alliance with Earth, and I would like to serve as the official liaison. The implications weren't lost on Elara. Such a position would allow Zara to spend significant time on Earth to continue their cultural exchanges. There's still so much for both our peoples to learn, Zara continued, about the universe, about each other, and I find myself eager to continue our lessons. Elara felt a smile spreading across her face. Well, Professor, she said, her tone playful, I believe I still have a lot to learn about Novari customs. It could take years of intensive study. Oh, my dear Elara, Zara purred, pulling her close, I'm counting on it. As their lips met, Elara felt a surge of energy unlike anything she had experienced before. In that moment, she saw glimpses of the future, of humanity spreading to the stars, of Earth becoming a beacon of innovation and cultural exchange in the galaxy, of the incredible journey that lay ahead. When they finally parted, both slightly breathless, Elara turned back to the vista of stars spread out before them. So, she said, where do we go from here? Zara's eyes gleamed with excitement and possibility. Everywhere, Elara, we go everywhere. As they stood there, hand in hand, Elara knew that this was just the beginning. Humanity had taken its first true steps into a larger universe, and she, along with her unlikely alien partner, would be at the forefront of this new era of exploration, diplomacy, and discovery. The challenges ahead would be immense, the responsibilities overwhelming. But as Elara looked out at the cosmic tapestry before her, feeling the warmth of Zara's hand in hers and the collective potential of humanity surging within her, she knew one thing for certain. The future, for her, for Earth, and for the entire galaxy, had never looked brighter.